Amara's throat tightened as the priest's words reached her. Will you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love and to hold, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse? She looked at Victor standing there, calm and smiling, everything she had been pressured to want. Her chest ached. No, I can't, she said, her voice steady. Without waiting for anyone to react, she stepped back and ran out of the church. Guests shouted, but she didn't stop. She ran until she was alone, her heart still racing. She knew exactly why she couldn't go through with it. If she married him, she would spend the rest of her life feeling trapped and unhappy. She would always wonder if she had made the wrong choice, and she couldn't live like that. As she caught her breath, she thought about how she had gotten here. She had just turned 30, and though she had achieved some of the things she had wanted, there were other things she hadn't. Marriage, children, a life that looked like what people expected. These were the pieces she felt were missing, the parts of her life that seemed to matter more to everyone else than to her. Her mother's words echoed in her mind, telling her she needed to think about her future and could not wait forever. Those reminders had followed her for years, and over time, they had worn her down. She knew her mother meant well, but the constant pressure made her feel as if she were running a race she had never signed up for, a race whose rules she did not understand and whose finish line she could not see. Life outside her home did not make it any easier. Friends talked about engagements and babies, and colleagues asked about her plans to settle down. Each question and each comment slowly chipped away at her confidence. She began to wonder if there was something wrong with her, if she had missed a deadline that everyone else seemed to know. The feeling of being behind had become a constant reminder that she was out of step with the world around her. Then Victor appeared. He was the kind of person who seemed to fit naturally into the life she had imagined. Over the years, their friendship had grown into a love that was comfortable and safe, a love that felt like it could last. When he proposed, Amara accepted without hesitation. It was not only because she loved him, though she did, deeply. It was because, finally, there was a path that looked right, a life that seemed to make sense in a way her own had not for so long. Amara had been helping with the final wedding preparations when she heard Victor's voice from the living room as he spoke to a friend on the phone. She paused, unsure if she should listen, but the words drew her closer. He was talking about her money and how it would make his life easier, how he wouldn't have to worry about anything once they were married. Amara sank into the nearest chair, struggling to process what she had just heard. Months of planning a life with Victor had been based on the belief that their wedding was about love, and now it felt as if she had been blind to the truth. She reminded herself why she had agreed to marry him. She wanted stability, a partner she could trust, and someone who had always treated her with care. Those parts of Victor had not changed, and they were real, even if other motives were now clear. By the end of the night, she had made her decision. The wedding would go ahead. Victor's reasons might include security, but that did not erase the life they could build together. There was love between them, enough to make it work if she focused on it. The rest, the practical side, the part she did not like, would have to be accepted. She could step into this next stage with her eyes open and make it hers on her own terms. After the decision to go ahead with the wedding, life moved forward quickly. The days were filled with preparations, and there was little time to reflect on past doubts. On the morning of the wedding, Amara woke up feeling tense. She told herself it was only nerves and that every bride felt this way. Wanting reassurance, she decided to look for Victor before the ceremony began, hoping that seeing him and speaking to him would calm her down. She walked toward his room quietly, expecting to find him preparing for the day. When she opened the door, what she saw stopped her cold. Victor was standing close to Samantha, her young assistant from work. Before Amara could speak, she saw him kiss her. The truth about the money had hurt, but this cut deeper. She closed the door and walked away slowly, barely aware of where she was going. Once she was alone, the tears came. Her thoughts quickly moved beyond Victor and toward the consequences of leaving him now. Her family would be humiliated. Her mother had invited everyone she knew to see her daughter get married. She was still crying when her mother came into the room. One look at Amara's face made it clear that something was wrong. Through tears, Amara explained what she had seen and said she could not go on with the wedding. Her mother listened carefully before responding. She spoke in a calm but firm voice, saying that many men cheat, and that marriage often required endurance rather than emotion. She reminded Amara of the family, the guests, and everything that had already been put into the day, warning her not to destroy everything over something that could be dealt with later. Amara felt drained and overwhelmed. The pain was still there, but the pressure was worse. Slowly, she wiped her face and stood up. Whatever needed to be said or decided could wait until afterward. For now, she would endure it and get through the day. Amara walked down the aisle and stood beside Victor at the altar. The priest continued with the ceremony, speaking to both of them as the guests listened. He first turned to Victor and asked him if he would take Amara as his wife, to love her and remain with her through all of life. Victor answered clearly, saying, "I do." The priest then turned to Amara. "Do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love and to hold, for better or for worse?" As the question reached her, doubt rose again. In that moment, everything became clear. Marrying Victor would mean spending her life adjusting herself to be accepted, ignoring what hurt, and accepting less than she deserved. The future she had been pushing herself toward no longer felt right. Tears filled her eyes, but her decision was already made. "I can't," she said quietly. She lifted her dress and turned away from the altar. The gasps behind her did not stop her. Whatever came next would be faced later. After Amara left the wedding, she stayed away from everyone for several days, choosing silence because she did not have the strength to explain herself or defend her decision. She remained alone, moving through the days slowly, thinking about everything that had happened and everything that had led her to that moment. The shame came first and stayed with her the longest, because she knew people were talking and judging, and she knew her name would forever be connected to the wedding she walked away from. There were moments when she questioned whether leaving had been worth the damage it caused. Still, as the days passed, Amara began to see her situation differently. She understood that marriage alone did not define success, and that choosing herself did not mean she had failed at life. She also understood that love, which required her to silence her doubts, tolerate disrespect, and sacrifice her self-respect, was not love she could survive in for long. Her story serves as a reminder that respecting yourself must always come before trying to please others.